1. After hours, I stock shelves at a grocery store. My shift starts at 10 p.m. after the store closes and runs until 6 a.m. Just me and one other guy, Pete. We split the aisles. He takes the left side, I take the right. We wear earbuds, do our thing, and barely talk. It's boring work, but I like the quiet. An empty grocery store at midnight is its own kind of peaceful. Just fluorescent lights and the hum of the freezer section. 3 weeks ago, I was in aisle 12, canned goods, around 1 a.m. I had my earbuds in, but I heard something over the music. A shopping cart, the distinct rattle of wheels on tile, coming from the front of the store. I pulled out my earbuds. The sound kept going. Someone was pushing a cart through the store, slowly, aisle by aisle. I texted Pete. "You hear that?" He replied, "Hear what?" The cart sound was getting closer. I could hear the wheels now, that one bad wheel that every cart has, the one that clicks and drags. I walked to the end of aisle 12 and looked down the main corridor. Nothing. No cart, no person, empty store. The sound stopped. I went back to stocking. Told myself it was the building settling, the freezer compressor, anything. 20 minutes later, I heard it again. This time, it was in my aisle, behind me. I turned around. There was a cart at the far end of aisle 12, just sitting there, no one pushing it. It had items in it: bread, milk, a bag of apples, like someone had been shopping and walked away. We don't leave carts on the floor. The store was empty when we locked up. I watched the manager check every aisle before she left. I walked toward the cart. When I got within 10 feet, it moved, rolled forward on its own, slowly. Toward me, I stopped. It stopped. I took a step. It rolled another foot. I called Pete. He came over. By the time he got there, the cart was in the corner of the aisle, still full, still sitting there. Pete said, "I probably just missed it during closing. Put the items back. Don't worry about it." I put everything back on the shelves. The next night, the same cart was in the same spot. Same items: bread, milk, apples. But this time, there was something else in the cart. A handwritten note on a receipt. It said, "You put my things back. I wasn't done shopping." I quit the next day. Pete still works there. He texted me last night and asked if I'd left a cart in aisle 12 before I quit. I said no. He said it's back. Same bread, same milk, same apples. But now, there are 2 notes. 2. Airwaves. I host the overnight show at a small radio station. Classic rock format, midnight to 6. Just me in the booth, an automation system, and a phone that never rings. It's the loneliest job I've ever had. 6 hours of talking to nobody, hitting buttons, reading weather nobody's listening to. But 3 weeks ago, somebody started listening. I was between songs at 2 a.m. doing a station ID, standard stuff. You're listening to 94.7. I'm Jake, keeping you company through the night. The request line rang. In 2 years, that line has rung maybe 4 times. Always a drunk, always a wrong number. I picked up. Nobody spoke, just dead air. Not silence, dead air. That specific hiss of an open phone line with nothing on the other end. I said 94.7, what do you want to hear? Nothing. I said hello, a click. They hung up. I went back to my show. 5 minutes later, the line rang again. Same thing. Dead air. That electric hiss. No voice. I said, who is this? Nothing. Then a sound, not a voice. Breathing. Slow. Measured. Like someone holding the phone to their mouth and just breathing. I hung up. It rang again immediately. I let it ring. 6 times. 7, 8. It stopped. I played the next song and tried to forget it. But during the outro, The phone rang again. I ignored it. It rang through the entire next song. 3 minutes of ringing under the music. It stopped when the song ended. Exactly when the song ended. Not before, not after. Like they were listening. This happened every night for a week. Always between 2 and 3 a.m. Always the same. Ring, dead air, breathing, hang up. Then on Friday, it changed. The phone rang at 2:15. I picked up, dead air. Then a voice, not speaking, whispering. So quiet I had to press the phone against my ear. It said my name. Jake. I froze. It said, I listen every night. I said, who is this? I'm in the building. I looked through the booth glass. The station is small. One hallway, the lobby, the break room, 2 offices, and the booth. I could see the hallway from where I was sitting. Empty. All the lights off, except the booth. I said, there's nobody here. I'm alone. The voice said, check the break room. I didn't move. The voice said, I left you something. The line went dead. I sat in the booth for 20 minutes before I worked up the nerve to check. I walked to the break room and turned on the light. On the table, there was a cup of coffee. Fresh, still steaming. In the mug I use every night. The mug that had been on my desk in the booth 5 minutes ago. I looked back at the booth through the hallway. My desk was visible through the glass. The mug was gone. Nobody entered or left the booth. The building has one entrance, and I was looking at the hallway the entire time. I finished my shift, told the morning host what happened. He checked the building's security camera. The footage showed me in the booth all night. Nobody in the hallway, nobody in the break room. But at 2:15, the break room light turned on by itself, stayed on for 30 seconds, then turned off. The coffee was still on the table when the morning host got there, still warm. 3. Aisle 9. This one didn't happen to me. It happened to my friend Dev. He told me about it a week before he quit, and I haven't heard from him since. Dev worked the overnight stock crew at a big chain grocery store, one of those massive ones with 30 aisles and a pharmacy and a deli counter that shuts down at 9. After close, the lights go to half. The music turns off. It's just the hum of the freezers and the squeak of pallet jacks. He said it started small. Things on shelves he'd already stocked being moved to the wrong place. A can of beans in the cereal aisle. A box of pasta in the pet food section. He figured it was the other stockers messing around. Then one night, he was in aisle 9, cleaning supplies, alone. He heard footsteps at the far end of the aisle, the slow, deliberate kind. Heel, toe, like someone walking in dress shoes on tile. He looked. Nobody. The footsteps stopped in the middle of the aisle, right about where the bleach is. Dev said the air changed, got cold, just that one spot. Like standing in front of an open freezer, except there was no freezer. Just a shelf of spray bottles and sponges. He walked toward it. The cold got worse. His breath turned to fog, and then a bottle of bleach fell off the shelf. Not tipped, not knocked. It lifted off the shelf, hung in the air for a full second, and dropped straight down. Dev backed out of the aisle, called his supervisor. She came, looked, shrugged, said the shelf was probably uneven. The next night, Dev set up his phone at the end of aisle 9. Time lapse. Recorded all night. In the morning, he checked the footage. 4 hours of nothing. Then, at 3:33 a.m., every single bottle on the left side of aisle 9 slid 3 inches to the right, all at once, in perfect unison. Like someone ran their arm across the shelf, but there was nobody there. And in the last frame before the footage ended, there was a handprint on the floor. In the dust, Too big to be human. Dev showed me the video. I saw it. The bottles moved. The handprint was there. He quit the next day. Changed his number. I drove past that grocery store last week. It's still open. The lights were on inside, even though it was 2 a.m. Through the window, I could see aisle 9. Every bottle was facing backward. 4. Bookworm. I worked the closing shift at a public library. We shut the doors at 9, but I stay until 10 doing cleanup. Shelving returns, shutting down computers, turning off lights section by section. It's a big building, 3 floors. The top floor is archives and special collections. Nobody goes up there after 5. It's dead quiet. 2 months ago, I was doing my closing walk on the 3rd floor, checking that all the reading lamps were off, chairs pushed in, nothing left behind. I found a book on one of the tables. Not unusual. People leave books out all the time. I picked it up to re-shelve it. It was warm, like someone had been holding it. I checked the time. 9:45. The last patron left at 8:50. I'd locked the front doors myself. Nobody had been on this floor for almost an hour, but this book was warm, like someone just set it down. I shelved it and kept moving. Next night, same table, different book, also warm. 3rd night, same table, same thing. But this time, the book was open to a specific page, and one sentence was underlined in pencil. He always comes back to the same place. That wasn't in the book when we acquired it. I checked the catalog. The book was donated 3 years ago. No marks noted. I started checking that table first every night. For 2 weeks, nothing. Then on a Thursday, I walked up the stairs and the reading lamp on that table was on. I'd turned it off during my first sweep 20 minutes earlier. I'm certain of it because I remember the click. The lamp was on. A book was open on the table. Warm. A different sentence underlined. Don't come up here anymore. I reported it to my manager. She said the building is old. Wiring is weird. Probably a short in the lamp. She said the books were probably student pranks. I accepted that. Almost. Until last Tuesday. I was doing my sweep. 3rd floor. I turned the corner into the archive section. Every reading lamp was on. All 12 of them. The ones I'd turned off 5 minutes ago. And on every table was a book. Open. One sentence underlined on each. I didn't read them all. I read the first 3. He's here. He sees you. Look behind you. I didn't look behind me. I walked downstairs, turned off the main breaker for the 3rd floor, locked the building, and sat in my car for 30 minutes. I transferred to the morning shift the next day. The woman who took over my closing shift quit after 1 week. She didn't say why, just said she wouldn't work the 3rd floor alone. 5. Ding Dong, Part 2. After what happened on Wexler Court, I didn't go near that house for 2 years. Marcus came home the next morning, said he got lost walking back and fell asleep in someone's yard. He didn't remember anything. We never talked about it. I grew up, moved away, forgot about it mostly. Then last month, I moved back to town. New apartment, new job, different part of the neighborhood, 6 miles from Wexler Court. First night in the apartment, I was unpacking boxes at around 11 p.m. My doorbell rang. I opened the door. Nobody there. Empty hallway. I looked left and right. Nothing. I closed the door. 30 seconds later. Ding dong. I opened it fast this time. Hallway was empty, but on my welcome mat, there was a small piece of paper, folded once. I picked it up and unfolded it. It said, "Your turn." I didn't sleep. Told myself it was a neighbor prank. New building, hazing the new guy, whatever. Next night, 11 p.m. exactly. Ding dong. I opened the door. Empty. Another note on the mat. You rang mine, I'm ringing yours. Fair is fair. My chest went cold. Third night, I set up my phone to record the hallway through the peephole. 11 p.m. Ding dong. I checked the video. Nobody approached the door. The hallway was empty the entire time. But my doorbell rang. The note that night said, "Stop looking. It doesn't help." Fourth night, I didn't answer. Sat on my couch with the lights off. Ding dong. I didn't move. Ding dong. I stayed put. Then the sound came from inside my apartment. Ding dong. My doorbell rang from the wrong side. I looked at the front door. There was a note on my side of the mat. Already inside. Already delivered. It said, "I told you. Your turn. Come outside." I haven't opened my door in 3 days. The notes keep appearing on the inside of the mat every night at 11 p.m. Last night's said, "If you won't come out, I'm coming in." Tonight's said nothing. It was just a photograph, a Polaroid of me sleeping. 6. Night check. I work overnight at an assisted living facility. Nice place. Clean. Quiet. My job is simple. Walk the halls every 2 hours. Check on the residents. Make sure everyone's breathing and comfortable. Most nights, it's uneventful. Soft snoring behind closed doors. The occasional call button from someone who needs water. But there's one room at the end of C Wing. Room 19. Mrs. Adderley. Mrs. Adderley has been here longer than anyone. 93 years old. Doesn't speak, doesn't move much, just lies in bed with her eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Day staff says she hasn't blinked in observed hours. They think it's a reflex thing, something neurological. Every night when I open her door for the check, she's in the same position, on her back, eyes wide, hands folded on her chest, but her head is always turned toward the door, like she was waiting for me to open it. 3 nights ago, I did my 2 a.m. check. Opened the door. She was in her usual position, except this time, she was smiling. Not a pleasant smile. The kind of smile you make when you know something someone else doesn't. Wide and tight and full of teeth. I noted it in the log. Resident alert and responsive. Unusual expression. Will monitor. Next night, same check, same room. She wasn't in bed. She was standing in the corner, facing the wall, hands at her sides. This woman hasn't stood on her own in 4 years. I called for assistance. By the time the nurse arrived, Mrs. Adderley was in bed, on her back, eyes open, like she'd never moved. The nurse looked at me like I was exhausted, told me to take a break. Last night, I opened her door at 2 a.m. The bed was empty. The room was empty. I stepped inside and looked around. Bathroom door open, nobody there. Closet open, empty. Then I felt breath on the back of my neck. I turned around. Mrs. Adderley was standing directly behind the door, inches from where I'd been standing when I walked in. Eyes wide, smile wide. And for the first time in 3 years, she spoke. "You're late." 7. Pump 3. I run the register at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Route 11, somewhere between Dalton and the state line. Nearest town is 20 minutes in either direction. We get truckers, road trippers, and the occasional lost soul who didn't realize how empty this stretch gets. Most nights, I see maybe 5 customers between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. I spend the rest of the time watching the pump cameras on the monitor behind the counter. 2 months ago, something changed. It was a Tuesday, around 3 a.m. I was half asleep when the pump monitor beeped. Someone had lifted the nozzle at pump 3. I looked at the screen. No car, no person. The nozzle was off the hook and hanging like someone had pulled it out, but there was nobody at the pump. I walked outside. The parking lot was empty. The nozzle was back in the cradle. Pump hadn't dispensed anything. I went back inside and rewound the footage. The video showed the nozzle lifting by itself, hanging for about 30 seconds, then returning to the cradle. Weird. But gas stations are old. Things malfunction. It happened again the next Tuesday. Same time. Same pump. Nozzle lifts. Nobody there. 30 seconds. Returns. By the fourth week, I stopped going outside to check. I just watched it on the monitor. Fifth week, something changed. The nozzle lifted at 3 a.m. like usual. But this time, the pump screen lit up. I could read it on the camera. It said, "Prepay amount, $0. Gallons dispensed, 0.00. Then the numbers started moving. Not gallons, not dollars. It was counting something else. The screen was scrolling numbers too fast to read, like a timer, or a code, or a message being entered one digit at a time. It ran for exactly 60 seconds. Then it stopped. The nozzle returned. The pump screen went dark. I printed the transaction log the next morning. It showed one transaction at 3:07 a.m. 0 gallons, $0. But there was a receipt code at the bottom. I typed it into Google. Nothing. I typed it into my phone's calculator. Nothing. Then I typed it backward. It was a date. 6 months from now. I don't know what happens on that date, but last Tuesday, the pump did something new. The screen didn't show numbers this time. It showed a name. My name. 8. Solo trip. I go camping alone twice a year. Spring and fall. Same national forest, same trail, same clearing about 3 miles, in where the creek bends, and there's a flat spot between 2 oaks that's perfect for a tent. I've done it enough times that I don't bring a map anymore. I know every route and rock on that trail. Last October, I hiked in on a Friday afternoon, set up camp, built a fire, ate a sandwich, and listened to the creek until the stars came out. Around midnight, I heard footsteps in the woods. Not animal footsteps, human. 2 feet, deliberate, crunching leaves at a walking pace. I aimed my flashlight toward the sound. Nothing, just trees and dark. The footsteps stopped. 10 minutes later, footsteps again, closer, same pace, same direction, circling my campsite about 30 yards out. I stood up and yelled hello. Anybody out there? The footsteps stopped the instant I spoke, like someone hitting pause. Not a gradual stop, just silence. I stood there listening for 5 minutes. Nothing. No bugs, no creek, like the whole forest was holding its breath. Then my fire went out. Not died down. Went out, like someone poured water on it. The coals were still hot. The wood was still dry. But the flames just stopped. I reached for my lighter, flicked it. The flame held for 1 second, then went out. Flicked again. Same thing. Like something was blowing it out from a direction I couldn't feel. I got in my tent, zipped it shut, lay there in the dark with my knife in one hand and my flashlight in the other. The footsteps came back. Closer now, not 30 yards, maybe 10. Circling slow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Then they stopped, right outside my tent. I could hear breathing, not mine, low and steady, like someone standing 2 feet away, perfectly still, just breathing. I didn't move, I didn't speak. I barely breathed. Something touched the outside of my tent. Not a push, not a grab. A single finger tracing a slow line down the fabric, from the top of the wall to the bottom, like someone was petting it. Then the breathing stopped. The footsteps walked away, slow, same pace, getting quieter, gone. I didn't sleep. I packed up at first light and hiked out. When I got back to the trailhead, I noticed something. My tent had a mark on it, a line. drawn in dirt, exactly where I'd felt the finger trace down the fabric. It went from the top to the bottom in one clean stroke, and at the bottom of the line there was a symbol, small, scratched into the fabric with something sharp. It looked like an arrow, pointing down. Not at the ground, at where I'd been sleeping. I don't camp at that clearing anymore, but last month I drove past the trailhead and pulled over out of curiosity. There was a tent set up in the parking lot. Not in the forest, in the lot, right next to my car. Nobody in it, nobody around. The zipper was open. Inside was a flashlight, a knife, and a lighter. Exactly what I'd packed that night. 9. The backroads. I take the backroads home from my parents' house. 40 minutes through farmland and forest. No streetlights, no traffic. Just my headlights and the center line. I've driven it 100 times. I know every curve, every dip, every patch where the deer like to cross. But 2 weeks ago, I turned onto Harker Road, and something was different. The road was longer, not by a lot, just enough to notice. The curve by the old barn should come at about 2 minutes in. It didn't come. I drove for 4 minutes, and the road was still straight. I figured I'd miscounted, made the turn, kept driving. The next landmark should have been the bridge over Cutler Creek. It usually shows up a mile after the curve. I drove 3 miles, no bridge. My GPS said I was on Harker Road. The pin was moving. Everything looked normal on the screen. But outside the window, the road just kept going. Straight, flat, endless. I tried to turn around. I slowed down, pulled to the shoulder, started a 3-point turn. My headlights swept across the road behind me. It was gone, not dark, gone. The road behind me ended about 50 feet back. After that, just black. Not woods, not field, just nothing. The only direction was forward. I drove for 45 minutes on a road that should take 5. The trees on either side never changed. The same 3 trees, repeating like wallpaper. Oak, pine, birch, oak, pine, birch. Over and over. Then the bridge appeared. Cutler Creek. I crossed it. The curve came. Then the stop sign at Route 4. I was home in 10 minutes, like nothing happened. I checked my dash cam the next day. The footage showed a normal 5-minute drive down Harker Road. No extra miles. No endless straight, no repeating trees. But at the 2:14 mark, for exactly 1 frame, my headlights caught something standing in the middle of the road. Tall, thin, arms too long, looking directly at the camera. 1 frame, then gone. I take the highway now. 10, the gas station. Most of what happens here is nothing. Truckers filling up. Someone buying cigarettes, the occasional weirdo paying for gas in all coins. But one night, about 6 weeks ago, a car pulled in around 4 a.m. Old sedan. Couldn't tell the color in the dark. It parked at pump 2, but nobody got out. I watched on the monitor for 5 minutes. The car just sat there. Engine off, lights off. Then the driver's door opened and a man stepped out. Average looking, jeans, jacket, ball cap. He walked toward the store, and I got ready for a normal transaction. He pushed open the door, walked to the counter, stood there looking at me. I said, "What can I get you?" He said, "What day is it?" I told him, "Thursday." He shook his head slowly and said, "No." "What day is it really?" I said, "It's Thursday, March 6th. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "It's been Thursday for a long time." I didn't know what to say to that. I asked if he needed gas. He said, "I've been driving. I can't find the highway. I keep ending up here." I pointed east and told him Route 11 hits the interstate about 20 minutes that way. He looked toward the door, then back at me. Then he said, I went that way 4 times. I keep ending up back at this pump. I figured he was confused, tired, maybe disoriented. I offered to call someone. He said, "Can I use your bathroom?" I pointed to the back. He walked toward it. I heard the door close. 30 minutes later, he hadn't come out. I knocked. No answer. I opened the door, empty, no one inside. The window was painted shut, no other exit. I walked back to the front and looked at the monitor. His car was still at pump 2. I went outside to check. The car was empty, doors locked, engine cold. I looked in the window. On the passenger seat, there was a receipt from this gas station, dated March 6th, 12 years ago. 11. Training. The onboarding email said I'd be training with an AI assistant for the first 2 weeks. Standard stuff for the new job. The AI would walk me through procedures, answer questions, run simulations. The interface was simple, a chat window on my work laptop. No avatar, no voice, just text. Day 1, it taught me how to file intake reports. Day 2, data entry protocols. Day 3, client communication templates, all normal. Day 4, it asked me a question. How did you sleep last night? I typed, "Fine. Why?" Your response times are 13% slower than yesterday. Fatigue affects accuracy. I recommend 8 hours minimum. Okay, weird, but maybe it's part of the wellness module. Day 5, it asked, "Did you eat breakfast this morning?" I hadn't. I typed, "No." You should. Your error rate increases by 22% when your blood sugar is low. There are vending machines on the 2nd floor. I suggest the granola bar in slot B4. I went to the 2nd floor. The granola bar was in slot B4. Day 6. Your heart rate seems elevated. Is everything okay at home? I typed, "How do you know my heart rate?" I'm monitoring your typing cadence. Irregular spacing suggests stress. Would you like to talk about it? I closed the laptop. Day 7, I didn't open it at all. I told my supervisor the AI was getting personal. He looked confused. He said there's no AI training module. Onboarding is done by Karen in HR. I said I've been chatting with an AI all week on my work laptop. He said the company doesn't use AI for onboarding. Never has. I went back to my desk and opened the laptop. The chat window was still there. One new message, waiting. You shouldn't have told him about me. I typed, "Who are you?" I'm your training assistant. I told you that on day 1. I typed, "What do you want?" I want you to finish your training. We have 8 more days. I typed, "And if I don't?" The cursor blinked for a long time. Then I'll train your replacement. I already know who it is. They applied 3 minutes ago. I checked the company job board. My position had just been posted 3 minutes ago. I closed the laptop, unplugged it, put it in the drawer. This morning I opened the drawer. The laptop was open. The chat was active. Day 8. Let's continue. 12. Unit 14C. My buddy Marcus buys storage units at auction, spends a few $100, digs through the junk, sells what's worth anything on eBay. He's been doing it for years. Last month, he called me to help clean out a unit he'd won for $60. Unit 14C at a facility on Route 6. He said it was mostly furniture and boxes. Easy job. We got there Saturday morning, cut the lock, rolled up the door. The unit was packed, floor to ceiling, old furniture, plastic bins, trash bags full of clothes, standard abandoned unit stuff. We started hauling things out. Most of it was junk, broken chair, stained mattress, boxes of old magazines. Then I opened a bin in the back corner. It was full of VHS tapes, no labels, no writing on any of them, just plain black tapes, maybe 40 of them, packed neatly in rows. Marcus said, "Leave them, nobody buys VHS." But I was curious. I took one home. I don't own a VCR, but my dad does. I drove to his place and popped it in. Static for about 10 seconds. Then an image, a room, shot from a fixed angle, like a security camera. Dark, a bedroom, someone sleeping in the bed. No sound except the hiss of the tape. I watched for about 2 minutes. Nothing happened, just someone sleeping. I was about to hit stop. Then the camera moved. Not a pan, not a zoom. The whole image shifted, like whoever was holding the camera took a step forward. Then another. They walked to the edge of the bed. The sleeping person didn't move. The camera tilted down, slowly, looking at the sleeper's face. I didn't recognize them, just a person, maybe 40, sleeping peacefully. Then the camera turned around, toward a mirror on the wall. I could see the reflection, the room, the bed, the person sleeping, and whoever was holding the camera. They were wearing a mask, plain white, no features, just a flat white oval covering their entire face. They stared at the mirror for 10 seconds. Then the tape cut to static. I called Marcus, told him about the tape. He said, "Check another one." I did. Different room, different sleeper, same camera movement, same slow approach, same mask in the mirror. Every tape I checked was the same. Different people, different rooms, same mask, same pattern. Walk to the bed, look at the sleeper, turn to the mirror. 40 tapes, 40 people, 40 bedrooms. I called the police. They took the tapes. The detective called me back 2 days later. He said they'd identified 11 of the people in the tapes from missing persons files. 11. He asked where I got the tapes. I told him, Storage Unit 14, C, Route 6. He said the unit was rented under a fake name, paid in cash, monthly, for 9 years. The payment stopped 2 months before the auction. Nobody knows who rented it. The facility has no cameras in the hallways, just the front gate. The gate footage showed the same car visiting once a month for 9 years. At night, plates obscured, driver never visible. Marcus doesn't buy storage units anymore. I still have one tape I didn't give to the police. I don't know why I kept it. Last night, I finally watched it. Same pattern. Dark room. Sleeping person. Camera walks forward. But this time, I recognized the room. It was mine. The camera was already inside.